Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing our Brazil run in Victoria 3, and last episode was a ton of pain. We completely lost access to the Russian market. We're dealing with a lot of the fallout from that. One of the things is we gained a ton of radicalism. Normally you don't get a bunch of minus approval off of your radicalism because the radicalism, or the approval is based off of the people who actually have the power. The people in power tend to be rich, and the people who are rich tend not to get pissed. However, when you get to zero, market access, they get pissed, and and we also have just an enormous amount of debt, just a really kind of catastrophic situation. The saving grace, or I guess the icing on the cake, is that we're getting a ton of migration from Greek, Russian, etc. pops, and so this is probably long term maybe okay, but in the very short term, we are not looking very good at all after kind of this debacle, which forced us to rake back a ton of construction and this sort of thing, and we're still just not in good shape. So we're gonna be in recovery mode, but we are passing public health insurance, which is gonna be nice, kind of setting a foundation where we can get a lot of pops. But for now, we're just mostly paying and taking Argentina. So normally we would be a little bit careful about reducing autonomy. We don't actually want to fight because we are in Russia's customs union, and what this ends up doing is something that's a little bit pernicious. Is we are considered a subject of Russia. Every subject we have is considered a subject of Russia as well, because it's like a pyramid. We're beneath Russia, and then Peru, Bolivia is beneath us. If you attack someone that is in Russia's customs union, they will almost always defend them, or defend them very frequently, and us reducing the autonomy of our own subjects in the customs union will prompt Russia to defend them. However, this will kick them out of Russia's customs union, because if we fight Russia, we will get kicked out of the customs union. So it leads to this very strange situation where we are just not going to reduce autonomy unless they're just going to accept it. And it looks like they accept it. We're going to rely on the YouTuber luck and hope that we don't roll 3%. And if we roll 3%, we'll just cry a lot. Okay, they accept, so we're no tears for us. At least not yet. That was last episode. A combination of water tube boiler and gold might be coming to the rescue. I also think there's a decent chance that us enacting interventionism is actually correct here, which pains me so much. But just because there's so much support for it, that we can get rid of a lot of radicalism. The movement or the revolution has gone away. We have to really hope it doesn't come back, because every time Rev progress goes above 50%, we're going to lose progress on magnanimous monarch. I only think we can support too much. As some people have pointed out in the comment section on the first video, if you have a separatist movement that goes over 50%, which is quite common if you annex anything, then this will also cause you to lose some progress on magnanimous monarch. So we will be annexing nobody else until we get to fulfilling this, and so it's just going to be subjugations only, which is this combined with us not being able to reduce autonomy on our subjects, generally speaking, as a result of Russia intervening unless they accept it, is going to be a bit of a thing. But also we get, I think that we might be able to make a recovery on the back of the fact that we're going to be getting more and more gold, both in Minas Gerais, and also in Transvaal and Verset, and so this will kind of help out. And then also we got the very, very key and important technology, condensing engine pump, which adds about 50%. Picks and shovels, if your mines are on picks and shovels, they're actually not that efficient. It's the PMs are really bad, and you can actually import rather than build it yourself, but atmospheric engine pump is extremely good, relatively speaking, and then the building becomes pretty efficient, and then condensing engine pump is one of the more efficient PMs at this phase of the game. It's really important tech to research. And going on to that, in addition to us having kind of a high density of mines, we have probably a higher density of wood, and this is more what we're focusing. We're trying to do hardwood focus, generally speaking, in the areas that we have hardwood output, but this should affect our economy in a pretty positive way. I don't think we're going to default. We can't default because that will hurt magnanimous monarch, and immediately you see this might be the result of the autocue picking up some slack, because we see that the investment pool is draining, but the amount of money you're making is always equivalent to this plus this, or this is a good way to think about it, and so we are in much better shape just after turning those few on. And then we have 5 gold mines in the queue here. We have a railroad right here because it will run out of infrastructure there, but this is going to be pretty key for us, on our way to kind of recovering and looking for some spots to expand. We probably should have expanded earlier into Ecuador. The main reason being Ecuador is one of the few places that has a mappy state in South America, and so maybe we should have prioritized Ecuador a little bit more. But Peru, Bolivia is important for the thing. I also think that New Granada, I was thinking about this, and this might be one of the very best expansion spots, because national supremacy means they're not going to siphon off migrants from you, and so this is pretty key. And we could even try and move people onto national supremacy if we can, if they are our subjects, because this will help us out in regards to just being able to prevent them from growing too much in the population. Because places like Peru, Bolivia, we benefit a lot from Russians, but they benefit a lot from the Russians coming in too. And if we take a look, we can see Polish. I don't think they were there before. I believe they're coming in from Russia, and so this is a bit of a thing. So we hit a bit of an unfortunate snag in that we are not going to be able to pass public health insurance, at least at this point in time, because we can't really form a legitimate government with the Catholic Church in power anymore as a result of them going authoritarian, and this is kind of the consequence. I think we're just going to do this, take our legitimacy. This will cause us to fail this law pass. Us not passing. Ooh, actually, wait a second. Wait a tick. We actually still have some chance. We can still make some moves. Okay. But if we get close to 50%, we're actually just going to stop and pass interventionism, I think, which just hurts our souls, but it is what it is. We might want to increase taxes now that we are in next bracket up, and we would still be above 75 if we increase taxes. We do have to keep an eye on this, and we do want to of course expand construction, and so we're going to try and do this, but we're probably there's a good chance we have to cancel the law, and it's better if we cancel it sooner rather than later, but we're going to take the risk that we can maybe get one of the really good rolls on public health insurance and then try and stave off this revolution, at least until then, or hope that the trade unionists or whatever leave. So things have been a little bit touch and go. We keep getting the ref popping up and then going away, and then popping up and then going away. We also are got kind of close to defaulting. We did increase taxes. The gold is kind of pulling us through here. We increased construction a little bit, I think. I'm not sure. And then we joined this side of UK for nothing. The main reason being is the UK is one of the very few people who has strategic interests in these sort of places. If we look at strategic regions, we see that, hey, UK has one, Russia has one, but that's just because of us. And so we are unlikely to get our pie thumbed if we join UK's side, because then they can't join against us, or they cannot be swayed against us. And so this creates a nice little situation where we get a little bit of an opportunity. We're going after Chile. Just a reminder, we got Argentina and Ecuador as well, and so we're kind of uniting all of South America right now under our rule, as it should be, of course. Alright, well that's a bit of a relief. We get in our institution. We, of course, are going to need some more government bureaucracy. We have a little bit in the queue. We're just going to kick stuff down so that we will be getting that a little bit quicker coming on up. But this is such an important institution now because what it's going to give you is it's going to give you base levels of standard of living, which is going to greatly help with migration, but also it's going to reduce the effects of pollution and reduce mortality in general, which will allow for a lot greater population growth. You can see here we are kind of doing, I think it was over here. Here's we're before Russia market, after Russia market, we're steadily growing, but we should be able to get a bigger, uptick or curve up here. And we do have a lot of institutions we want to expand out, and we have gotten to the point where we are, clearing out some of our debt. I think we're going to look to hover in maybe around 50% deficit, somewhere around here, because we definitely can't touch the default position, because if we get this, we will get a negative tick on this, and so we might have throttled it a little bit more if we were trying to push it under normal circumstances. But the fact that Russia's market can get bricked, and then we'll have to end their customs union or leave their customs union, I think means that we'll be a lot safer if we just hover in the middle here. But the big ups on the institution, big ups on the fact that we're recovering here. If we take a look at the GDP, we're cranking up a little bit, but the government balance is really cranking up because we've gotten a lot of gold in. I think at the start of this episode, I can't remember exactly how many we had at the start of the episode. It might have been only 2 or 3, but now we have 11 gold mines, and we also have the gold company, which is giving throughput and extra minting, and so all of this will be quite nice. Same with loyalists from SOL increases. Shout out to loyalists. We're slowly decreasing the number of radicals. hopefully we're decreasing it in particular for the rich people, because the rich people are what give this minus approval for in terms of the government. And so we're going to keep cranking out, and we are, of course, adding construction now. In just a few moments, we will go over 100 construction, which is, of course, super nice and where you want to be. So we want to be really careful, obviously, with our law passes, because we can't go over 50% rev, but I think that, we have this enact cultural exclusion. It has, 36 support. It has a lot of radicalism. There's 3.9 million radical pops that are supporting this movement, which is a whole lot, and so I think that we should actually go for enacting cultural exclusion, which will also be nice. We do have a lot of pops that are not accepted on the basis of race. If we come take a look here, we will see like Afro-Brazilian, for example. They are discriminated against in Brazil. And if we look at Afro-Brazilian, they do have, let's see, where exactly, cultural traits. They have Lusophone, and so they share a cultural trait with us, so they wouldn't be discriminated on the basis of culture, but they are discriminated as a result of their heritage. So what we will be doing is we will be going on to cultural exclusion. We do have to keep an eye on this, and the rural folk by themselves shouldn't be able to get above a sufficiently high level of radicalism such that they can go over 50%, we hope, because if we start passing this and we satisfy this movement, and then we have to come off of it, we will probably hit another ding on our magnanimous monarch. We really don't want to do that. We could, in theory, chill for a little bit, but I think that this is the correct choice, and that, it's a shame that we couldn't get the schools, we did get the schools then, which is part of why these guys are a little bit happy with us right now, which is going to hopefully prevent them from joining the revolution. Hopefully with the -2, that's not enough, but it might be, because they don't like it, and so if we could slot them into government, then they wouldn't join, but we cannot do that right now because of reasons. Oh, because we're suppressing. I suppose we could do something like this. We could stop suppressing here. We can't really make a very legitimate government here, but what we could do is we could bolster the Catholic Church instead, which would be fine, or the armed forces instead, because they can siphon off from the pops that are going to landowners. I think we'll just keep with the suppress, and we'll just go for the law, though. And so this will have like above 50%, I think. Yeah, chance here. It's placated, but this will generate, an oppositional movement to preserve. And so hopefully that movement's just not too strong. It's not coming in just yet, and so we have a good chance of just banging it out before the movement can get particularly strong. The counter movement, rather. So we are banging it out pretty quick, keeping an eye on, of course, the support and radicalism of the counter movement, but we just got, 1, 2, just button your shoe, etc. And so we're kind of coming in on that. And we get a new company, and of course we're going to do it in on the logging. In particular, we're really producing a ton of logging. This is maybe inefficient as a result of like being in Russia's market, because Russia does logging really well, but we don't have very good resource states to do iron and coal combined. We can do logging very effectively, and we will eventually need to do logging as a result of kind of rubber plantations considerations, and the infrastructure is also going to be pretty nice. We could maybe go for like the steel company, but we're nowhere near, a level 10 steel mill. And so the other one we could go for is we could go for an iron mine company. And I think this is maybe reasonable, but right now, wood is extremely efficient. I think the wood one will be a little bit better. I'm not 100% sure, but I think in particular for Brazil, it's going to make a lot of sense. And then what we will do is we will be trying to de-peasant our pops a little bit. Wood is actually one of the most efficient means of turning pops out from being peasants in the game in terms of construction, and also having a consideration for the fact that they're going to be capitalists, because this is only 200 construction. A mine is twice as much construction for basically the same level of employees. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we have a level 1 wood chop in every place that's in the contiguous, kind of a Brazil home. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're just going to set it on auto expand. This might not end up being like as efficient as selecting every place ourselves, but it's not going to be terrible. And we will also do a similar thing for fishing wharves, with the understanding that we are also going to de-peasant at a really good clip with these as well, because these are also 200 construction and capitalist owned. And so what we are trying to do is we are trying to move everything overall away from the peasantry as a means of kind of, destroying the clout of the Conservative Party, or not the Conservative Party, the Landowners landowners a little bit. If we can marginalize these guys, that would be great, because then we can, you know, be a little bit more loose or a little bit more adventurous with our law passes, because right now this, like, not being able to go above 50% is a very serious consideration for everything that we do. And so I think that making this adjustment, you know, with both the wood and the fish is going to be really good. And so we'll also come in here and put an auto expand in on the fish. They will hire 5,000 workers, and so the idea is that we are getting pops out of being, you know, what is it, out of this as quickly as possible. And also this will help with the migration, because as these get emptied, we are also going to kind of coming in here, we are going to get more points from unused arable land as they empty out, and so this will be good for siphoning off pops via migration. So we have been adding a decent chunk of construction, focusing on Minas Gerais or Gerais and also Transvaal. Now we are largely looking at the upkeep costs, but we know that Transvaal will scale better you know, as time goes on, as well as Fristadt, as a result of them both having coal and iron together and being able to build the loop much more effectively. We will also, you know, kind of get a Fristadt rolling on this, and it in particular will kick in really, really hard when we get steel frame buildings, because then we will have steel that is hyper more efficient in this situation. Instead of having to bring in and haul in the coal, we will be able to build it there. Notably, once we get onto that, Minas Gerais will be decent because we will have lead mines here, and so we will have more efficient glassworks, even though we will have slightly less efficient steel mills. And so this will overall be okay, but Minas Gerais, I think, will pick up quite a bit once we get to machine steel tools, because these take rubber, and so these will be extremely efficient, as will, you know, kind of a bunch of areas when we have tools, you know, supporting the wood chops, supporting the iron mines, and they are supported by the rubber plantations. And so I think that there is some, you know, efficiency here to be had. We're about to pass cultural exclusion, and then we have a little bit of a plan, a little bit of a thought, which is that we can invite an agitator, in this case this guy, who is a reformer who likes property and women. And so this will hopefully allow us to, we can put him in Gov, grant him leadership, and then hopefully this will allow us to revlously pass property and women, which we need as part of the journal entry for, you know, Brazilian secession. We need to make Isabel Branca have legal guardianship enacted, and also have her be heir to the throne, and so this type of thing. And so we are hoping we can do this kind of in the near-ish future, right after getting cultural exclusion. So we get a little bit of spice here in that the USA joined against us, which is unfortunate. We can sway Russia to have a definite upper hand, but we're almost as strong as the USA. You know, we're relatively close in terms of our combined arms that we have here with our subjects and ourselves. So I think what we're going to do is, instead of swaying Russia and owing them an obligation, which will prevent us from lowering autonomy on our subjects, this is the main reason we don't want to do it, I think instead we're going to try and sway Spain, because all Spain wants is they want to spend their own infamy to regime change Uruguay, which we're super okay with. The USA wanting to regime change, you know, in the Middle East, it's classic USA, but they want to regime change in Bahrain, and I think we win this war. Once they side with us, they're a little bit more confident. We will keep our defensive squad, that is this guy, in the Brazilian HQ to prevent landings. We will have our main pushing army kind of on the Uruguay front. I don't think we're going to put in anything on the USA. That way we can decay them out of the war much more effectively, because if we put something in on them, we will have to land them in order to enforce. I don't think we're really prepared to do that. We have a much smaller fleet than them. I think we're also going to maybe get in trouble in terms of our access to the Russian market, so this might mean we have to leave the Russian market. I don't know exactly, you know, flashbacks, etc., trauma, PTSD, this sort of thing from last episode, but hopefully, I guess maybe we should be building up the Navy a little bit here, you know, kind of with what's going on. So let's do that, and then let's build up another 6 somewhere else. Let's do... Well, we're going to build up more Navy, but yeah, that's what's going on right now over Uruguay. So we invited our agitator, Boyo. We're going to wait until he starts this movement. He has started the movement to enact property to women, and then we are going to, I think, start passing is the way to do this. Or no, we're going to slot the guys into government, and then we're going to start passing. So we'll do this. Then we will start passing property to women. And then we will promote this guy, or sorry, not promote. We will grant leadership to him. Wow, he's already a general. Okay, fair enough. We will grant him leadership, and then now that he has leadership, oh dear. Well, at least these guys won't be pissed, but it looks like the government won't be legitimate. That's not ideal. Because this guy has got some cognitive dissonance with some of the other gentlemen in here. Well, we still have the 5%, and so maybe we can get along with the 5%, something like this, or okay, we have enough. It looks like these guys joined the crew after we slaughtered them out of government, which is very nice. Or why are they? Okay, well, they're part of the movement. We have a ton of percents. I'm not sure exactly what happened here, but these guys joined in the moments while we were kind of off screen, maybe when they were out of gov, and so now we will have a decent shot at getting propertied women. This, of course, is going to make the Catholic Church very angry, but they are the only... Ooh, the rural folks angry, too. Why are you angry? Why are you so mad, dude? Alright, fair enough. The truth hurts. The truth is we have a ton of radicalism, and this has been the bane of our existence following the complete removal of our market. Little touch and go there for a second, because the US does have skirmish, and they are super, super spooky, but we also landed behind, and with the one province and the landing, and they don't defend that well versus the landing, we do get the occupation, which is going to be nice. Now we're just going to sit at the capital and just wait. There is a preserved legal guardianship movement, but the rural folk haven't joined it yet. The radicalism's on medium, so I think we can sneak this one in, largely because we have 54% chance. I don't think we can sneak it in if it's like 10 to 20 to 30, something like this. But the movement, who was started by our dear friend, this guy, the reformer, Mr. Ruprecht Nuremberg, this guy will be, we'll be getting it in. So with 69%, we're about to pass propertied women, most likely. And if we do, I'm thinking that we just need to wait for this to finish to complete the heir to the empire, or whatever, to complete the journal entry for this. So we're getting a little bit close here for her being heir for 10 years. And then I'm thinking that, she's hated, though. Once she's old enough, we will probably just be, abdicating as best we can, because if we abdicate the throne, then we will complete the magnanimous monarch, and we will get her in power instead of our dear friend Pedro, which, to be fair, is what Pedro would prefer to him growing old and then get overthrown by the Republicans, and so this is kind of what we're gearing up towards doing. We also subjugated Paraguay, reduced the autonomy of both New Granada and Peru, Bolivia, or at least Peru, Bolivia. New Granada was too high a chance. Here, only too low a chance, only 25%. We don't want Daddy Russia kind of intervening on that, so we're going to put that on hold. And Venezuela remains the only sovereign South American country that's not ours. I don't consider, these three South American countries, although this is the longest contiguous land border that the French have. Because of the map projection, this border appears longer, but in reality, this is, in terms of modern borders, the longest French border. And finally, Isabella's ready. The secession is secure. We are going to lose this minus popularity, and the magnanimous monarch will advance by 3. So now we're in pretty good shape here. We haven't gotten it to like 100% or anything, but we can abdicate at any point in time and get Isabella on the throne. We might not do it just quite yet. We do have to make the Intelligentsia pissed in order to do this. And so at least one of these has to be true. This is the easiest way. Approval of Intelligentsia has to be -10. They have to be marginalized. That's going to be a little bit harder. Pedro has to be unpopular. That's going to be impossible. He has to gain the psychological affliction. Not like this. And he has to be over 75, and her age also has to be greater than 18. Okay, so we're actually going to have to wait a little hot minute. We're going to have to wait 5 years. But then we will be trying to do it, just abdicating and completing this, and so we have a nice little buffer. We have to stay above 50%, but we have 30% of buffer, because we've avoided doing anything too crazy, and we are picking up the last of the South American states that is not yet our subject, which is, of course, Venezuela. For Venezuela, they're not our subject. Ecuador is our subject. Paraguay is our subject. Over here, Cisplatina is our subject, and Chile is our subject. I wondered why it changes from Uruguay, but it does. And so this is, or well, I mean, Venezuela is not our subject yet, but everything in subject and everything but name here. We will finish enforcing on them, and then we will kind of be reducing autonomy as best we can, looking to not fight Papa Russia while we are. And so if there's a chance that they won't say yes, then we'll say no. We'll stay out of this. So we unlock our third company, which we had already prepped. Now, we don't really have a lot of coal, and I was thinking about it. We do have, some amount of lead, not a lot of lead built out here, but, the iron mine being both iron and lead is kind of nice for us. We would prefer a coal, of course, but this is going to be a decent one. Before we maybe get up the steel up to level 10, that way we can put it in the steel mill, but this is going to be kind of a nice little thing that we got going on right now. Also, I think we're going to go for elected bureaucrats. We have a huge movement for it, and the rural folk who have been a little bit of a thorn in our side really support it, and the people who don't like it are the Intelligentsia, who are already happy, and the Landowners, who are relatively happy. So I think we can do this without getting too big a rev or too big a negative thing going on. We will have, positive chance that is not in government, and so it will be all on the backs of this movement, which is decently large. And so, or actually, we do have these boyos in gov. I forgot. It's easy to forget about the petite bourgeoisie. The truth hurts. And so this is going to be good. We will also kind of talk about techs here, because we just finished, of course, joint stock companies, and just wanted to kind of talk about some of the ideas behind techs. So egalitarian is not spreading to us, egalitarianism. We are on per capita taxation, though, so we're really not going to be able to make too much progress. We would love proportional taxation, but it's not absolutely essential, and we're not going to be able to get here until we would have to do one of two things. We would either have to do the snapback, where we would go, for land-based taxation, which would make a lot of people upset, and then forward to proportional taxation, or we're going to have to wait for the trade unionists to become sufficiently large. I think we're going to be waiting for the trade unionists. I think we maybe could have played the earlier game a little bit differently and gone for land-based taxation early, and then tried to research egalitarianism early, and this sort of thing would have been decent. But I think that what we might do in terms of these ones, we might go for dialectics. We're starting to approach 200 construction, which is usually the point where turning up the universities to an EOS cap seems to be a pretty good thing, and so I think dialectics is going to be one of the better techs in here, inside of the society tech thing. And also nitroglycerin's okay. Mechanized workshops really not going to be for us, because we're not even at the level 20 EOS cap in any of our places, and this is the primary benefit of mechanized workshops. So I really do think it is dialectics here. Maybe an argument can be made for general staff, but I think that no, I think it's dialectics, and I think after dialectics, it's maybe labor movement to try and demarginalize the trade unions, or try and move in that direction. Central archives is maybe also a decent shout, because we are trying to expand out institutions. We're building quite a bit of bureaucracy out. We actually already built it out, so why don't we just click up? But I guess we already have enough bureaucracy to kind of do what we want. Dialectics giving us another education slot will be nice once we finish researching it. We will boost that up. The education level has been coming up this entire episode, largely off the back of our institutions, really setting up things quite nicely for, our heiress, Princess Isabella. So I think this is a bug. If I'm not mistaken, this is just, we took Orania, but now there's an Orania, a new Orania, and an Orania peasant revolt. Is the Orania just a decentralized country? What happened here? Oh, did they survive? Did they start colonizing? Okay, they maybe started colonizing, and then this happened, and so now they're getting a rev. Wow, that's wild, because we took this off of Orania. I didn't realize that they started colonizing, and their color is almost exactly the same as the Orania is, kind of the... That's interesting. So I guess they started colonizing. We didn't notice. Now they have a peasant revolt and a lot of this, so we'll probably look to pick them up, because the same reasons we want to grab, Transvaal and Verstadt is because the gold. It's kind of holds true for over here. I guess a bit of a mistake not to grab it beforehand, but yeah, okay, that's interesting. I thought it was just a bug that it was revving, but maybe they just colonized and kind of snaked their way out of there. So we get this journal entry that I think we're going to tell to smell later. Now, I'm not 100% sure what the tail end or what the other side of this journal entry has, but we have two choices. In a private audience with Pedro de Barca, Minister, this guy, has suggested that the emperor could peacefully transition from Brazil to a republican form of government. The emperor could be granted the honor of being the nation's first president after abdicating the throne. We can choose the monarchy will endure, or if it is the will of the people, we shall have the republic. We're going to choose the monarchy will endure. We have plenty of buffer. We are going to cement the monarchy here. And we still have magnanimous monarch. We still have an additional, 20% here. And so I think we're in extraordinary shape, moving forward. We are about to get our construction up to level 200. And following that, we are going to start expanding the universities while we are running a positive balance. Or actually, I think we need one more construction sector here, so we're going to just put that in. But I think we're going to conclude the episode here. This episode, we have subjugated all of South America that is not, a great power that's not in South America. And what we will be doing next episode is hopefully abdicating the throne to dear Isabella. We're just setting this up right now. We've subjugated everyone. We got a whole bunch of laws in place that are pretty nice. We're not going to reduce autonomy unless someone's extremely likely to say yes. But we have Magnanimous Monarch High, she's ready to go, and we will be unlocking her unique ideology at the tail end of this, which will allow us to go multiculturalism relatively early. Now the question is can we make her a general before we do this, is kind of the thing. We don't have any character interactions. I think we have to wait for her to become 18, but if we can make her a general, then we can make her the IG leader. I have to double check exactly how all of this works, but making her the IG leader before we do this would be super nice because of her unique, ideology that she's going to have. And so we'll be looking into that next episode. But for this episode, subjugation of here, kind of a great recovery. We basically tripled construction, which wasn't really the point of this episode, but, we were really hurting after last episode. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. It does help out. And other than that, have a good day.